Alright, what's up guys? We are back here with Suduce Me Otome, or the Otome, whatever the fuck it's called, because apparently, like, every time I talk about this game with, like, one of my friends, apparently I've said it wrong this entire time. Anyways guys, last time I played was March 16th, and today is April 8th. By the way, yes, I'm doing this in the morning, and I'm gonna have to edit this and do this, record this by today, 12 o'clock, which means I have 5 hours. Should be fine. Should be fine. I should be able to do it in time. Anyways, let's start off. I kind of forgot the last couple things that have happened, so it might be a little bit to rewrap my head around things. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly that next morning. No grogginess, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky. Hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserved to get some luck. Some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quietly buzz from an oncoming text. Huh, who's texting me this early? Yo, Addison, you're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stats. Ooh. I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. You're not taking a shower or anything? I packed my bag and carried it downstairs into the kitchen. I quickly made myself coffee and toast, not having time for anything but big. I let out a soft sigh of happiness and as I sipped my coffee. I felt great, and I felt like nothing could stop me today. Come at me, day. I'm ready for you. I looked at the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Susie, waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about the homework and the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Susie and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something clipped my ankle and made me fall forward. Whoa. Ow. Sorry guys. I am a professional, and I always have my phone not on silent. Whoa! Ow! Hey, are you okay? I forgot her voice. Hey, are you okay? Who was that? Three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow. Why, you little... Susie, don't. I felt a giant fire of anger burning my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. Glare into her soul. Get her. No. Oh. Let's fight her. Let's fight her. Just in case this goes wrong, we're going to fight her. I've had enough. Yes, let's go. Fuck her up. I felt adrenaline rush through my body as I bounced off the ground and rushed at Lisette. This is great. I was not going to be the only one with scrapes this time. I tackled Lisette to the ground, swiping and slamming her innocent face. She screamed in fright before trying to push me off and block my attacks. Holy shit, Anderson! Yes. Stop it. I wasn't listening anymore. I let my carnal need to get revenge take over as I began to pull out Lisette's hair and get better aim at her face with my free hand. Yo! I've had enough of the bullying, the wounds, the insults. All of that was going burned in the past as I scraped my nails and hand across Lisette's face over and over. My rebellion would be marked on her pretty face for all to see. Lisette pushed me off and scrumbled to her face, both panicked and angry at the same time. Her emotion was nowhere close to the anger I was feeling. Are you crazy? What the hell? I stood up very slowly, glaring daggers into Lisette's soul through her eyes. I must have had some sort of monster behind me, or maybe I looked like the monster myself. But the gaggle girls, Lisette, and even my friends had a look of pure terror on their faces. I have had enough of you, Lisette. You obviously won't stop unless I fight back. Well, guess what? You're gonna get it. I charged at Lisette the second time, shoving her hard against the lockers. She let out a yelp of pain as she smacked the back of her head against the metal behind her, before glaring and shoving me back. As I stumbled back, Lisette raised her hands ready to fight. Then come on, Anderson. Show me what you've got. I bet it's not much. I felt myself snarl in anger before raising my own fist. Remembering my taekwondo, I quickly snapped into one leg and I quickly snapped onto one leg and raised a leg to get a swift kick at her head, but she blocked and with her arm and stepped towards me to jab at me. She had training, not surprising. I didn't care at the moment. I bent back away from the incoming jab, reestablishing my balance as I placed both feet on the floor. Lisette threw jab upon jab at me, forcing me to block my torso and face with my arms and hands. Hit for hit, Lisette and I exchanged and defended blows at each other. It was indeed more than just a cat fight. This was a vengeful duel. I like this. In my mind, all I saw was Lisette. All I wanted to was to make her stop. If that means beating her down, then it had to be done. We eventually gained a small crowd of people, all silent but observing the fight. My anger intensified as my hits became harder with each second that passed between us. I couldn't let her win. I wouldn't let her win. None of Lisette's girls dared to step in, apparently afraid to after seeing our skills and our individual fighting styles. Susie had held back Naomi's arm despite both of them wanting to help me. They didn't wait long for it to end, though. Suddenly, Lisette was pulled away from me, and I was pushed against the lockers by a strong force. Lisette hit the lockers as well on the opposite side, the opposite end of the hallway, letting out a gurgling grunt of pain. Okay. I do not endorse fighting whatsoever. I just want to say that. You should never fight anybody in school or anything like that. But I had to do this because I thought it would be funny. I don't know if I want to start over and do something different. You know what? I think this is the best for it. Just fucking fighting her. I think that's funny. It really puts like a hinge of respect on my name. Put some respect on my name, you feel? I looked up to see my art teacher, Miss Gordon, holding me against the lockers with a look of surprise and serious concern on her face. Miss Anderson, what are you doing? I looked to see Lisette being held back by Miss Phillips, starting to cry innocently. I knew what was going to come out of her mouth, so I tried to push Miss Gordon off to comfort her. Miss Gordon, however, kept an arm wrapped around me, keeping me back. Cry innocently. I knew what was going to come out of her mouth, so I tried to push Miss Gordon off to confront her. Okay. No, don't you dare stop crying, Lisette. You started this. Miss Anderson, get a hold of yourself. What is wrong with you? What did I ever do to you? Couldn't stop the angry tears running down my face as I shouted across the hallway. Lisette and Miss Phillips stared in shock at my screams as Miss Gordon tightened her hold on me. I'm so sick of it. Leave me alone. Eventually I lost my energy and began to weigh down on Miss Gordon's arms, letting my sadness take over, then quench my anger. With tears and swelling pain, I could feel Miss Gordon hug me, and her to keep me upright as Lisette sniffled and confided with Miss Phillips. I didn't do anything to her. She just attacked me all of a sudden. That's a lie, Lisette. You tripped her on purpose. You've always been a snobby prick to us. Never. I gave my condolences about her grandfather's death. I tried to keep everyone calm. Is that so wrong? Didn't even sound sincere. We knew you were only pretending to be nice to spite us. Enough, Miss White. Follow me to the dean's office. Lisette followed, wiping her eyes in the frightened innocence she knew how to play up. I remained still in Miss Gordon's arms, unable to bring myself to fight to get at Lisette again. I had done my damage. The gaggle of Lisette wannabes would make sure I became infamous around the school. I didn't care. I made my statement on Lisette's face and body, and I wasn't afraid to do it again. Scorgon, however, wasn't done with me. Come with me, sweetie. I nodded and followed. My friends frowned as they watched me leave, but they headed to class without me. Miss Gorgon led me to an empty classroom, which she had claimed as hers. It looked like all the other classrooms, but art posters lined the walls. Many students loved the room, but hated one thing: the mirror on the very back of the room. It was the one thing Miss Gorgon loved to use against her students. With it, she was able to see who was using their phones and who was actually studying. Miss Gorgon led me to the back of the room and sat me down in front of it. What do you see? I see two beautiful, striking young women. Huh? Tell me, what do you see? I looked in the mirror and saw myself. My clothes were a little ruffled from the fight, but beyond that, I just saw me. Nothing about me seemed different than normal. I see myself. Alright, what else? What else? I don't understand. Do you know what I see? I see a brilliant woman who has been working her butt off to try and find herself. She just has a little bit of adversary in her way. What does this have to do with what happened with Lisette? Listen, don't think about Lisette right now. She's just another student who doesn't know what you're going through. I stared at myself in the mirror, unable to tear my eyes away. She was right, but I still lingered on what happened with Lisette. I know Miss Gorgon was only trying to help, but I couldn't fight the thought in my head. Miss Gorgon gently rubbed my shoulders, snapping me from my thoughts. I looked up to see her smile down at me through the mirror. You know, those were some pretty interesting moves. Taekwondo? Yeah. You'll have to show me one day. I laughed as she hugged me gently. Look, don't let Lisette get to you, okay? You have your own battles to face. You can't face them just fine. And you can face them just fine. Instead of fighting Lisette, focus on your goals. I looked up at her and nodded sightfully. It was cliche to hear, but she was telling the truth. I needed to focus on myself first. She gave me a small packet of tissues and told me that she would handle Lisette. The fear about my family learning of this that had quickly appeared and had vanished when she promised to keep out of it as much as she could. To keep me out of it as much as she could. Everything will be fine now. You're a good student, so I'll let you off with a severe warning. Just don't get into any more fights, okay? Now head to class. I nodded before heading to class. That was really good. That was a really good sequence of events. And I am gonna go get water because I'm thirsty. I'm very, very thirsty apparently. And as for some reason, whenever I play this game, I get really thirsty and I get lightheaded. I don't know why. It's really dumb. Anyways, I'll be back. Gonna go get some water. Ciao. Fuck! I hit my funny bone. Peace. Surprising. The rest of the school day went off without another incident. Went to my class, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. What is up, guys? I'm back. Anyway, surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. Went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh. Text from Dad. I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. Quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Susie. Hey, are you ready to go? Actually, my dad's picking me up. Really? Okay. I guess that kind of makes sense. We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered for now. Yeah. Alright. You didn't want to laugh. Something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Susie before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise in Phoenix concert. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the? Hey, Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error? How do I not have any signal? I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for a signal. Must be a deadza. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands and feet and covered my mouth. I scraped into my hands over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop. Hey, don't dirty up Malix's prey. The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear. You're coming with me, Miss Anderson. I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the interior of a bus or a van. The doors closed and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears, first of the interior of the car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and cackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face, and my bounds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse, surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me. Nicely done. Haha. I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you. Malix walked over and set a barrel of his gun against the skin between my eyes. It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead. He can't hurt me. He physically cannot hurt me. Remember that? I remember. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna fight against my better judgment. No way was this happening. No way was I going to let myself be a victim. Fuck you, Malix. Of this. Gotta remember, what was in that book? What are you whimpering? Are you praying that the boys will come and save you? Haha. I kept grumbling, trying to remember and shut my eyes. Studying for a brief second wasn't enough. to keep a spell in my mind, but had to try something, anything. All of a sudden, the air grew still and silent. I opened my eyes and looked around and gasped at the sight. Everything was frozen in time, as if the clocks had stopped and everything had followed suit. What the? At first, I instantly wanted to move, but my feet were glued to the ground. I guess I couldn't change time and escape from where I was, but I was still lost. What was I supposed to do? A soft wisp of wind made me turn to a floating light purple orb. I stared as it glowed, giving off a warm feeling. For some reason, this thing made me feel happy and content. Despite the situation I was in, my heart felt like crying, yet I didn't know why. It couldn't have been. Grandfather? Oh. As I muttered, the orb slowly grew and faded into a spirit of my grandfather. From when I last saw him. I stared up at him, completely shocked that I was correct and that his form was standing in front of me. Guess it was a good idea to bring the incubi here after all. What? Is it really you? What do you mean? My grandfather smiled before patting my head gently. I couldn't feel it, but I knew he tried. So I closed my eyes in acknowledgement before looking at him again. Sweetie, I'm sorry for not telling you, but I didn't know if you were ready to know. That you handled demon magic? Yes. Why? What is there to gain from learning and using demon magic? It wasn't a matter of gaining anything except knowledge. Through magic, I was able to learn more about the demon world and its wonders. I even met your incubi friends. You met the boys? Yes. It was I who helped them come here, but it seemed it was at the cost of my life. What? Why? Why sacrifice yourself like that? None of this made sense. He died to bring the incubi into the human world. Why? Why? My mind was practically screaming in anger. I needed answers. With time being frozen, we had all the time in the world. Why would you die for something like that? Why leave us alone? Why leave me alone? I wasn't intending to, my dear. But now that I'm gone, you have a chance to find yourself without anything hindering you. What? Your father had always been so hard on you. I am to blame for that. He learned of my studies before he married your mother and pushed me away, promising to never follow in my footsteps. As he was my son, I still loved and cared for him. I helped him in little ways, from paying bills and making sure he had food to come home with, by adding money to his accounts. You don't know how hard your father worked to get to where he is now. Stared, trying to take it all in. It was true that my dad worked really hard, but I didn't realize how rough he had it. When you were born, you couldn't have been any happier. I tried to give you as many toys as I could, but many of them were tossed away by your father to protect you from me. I thought I would never have been able to see you, but when I found you on that street, I was blessed enough to have been given a chance. After I brought you back to your parents, I asked your mother to convince your father to let you visit me often, and he finally agreed. Why does Dad hate you so much? Why put that on me? Your father saw me as a monster. He was afraid I would hurt you. He wanted to protect you from me at all cost, even if it meant becoming a monster to you himself. You did not know my father. You did not know what he was capable of. He truly does love and care for you, but he doesn't want you to be as curious as I was. Curious? I chose to learn about magic. I grew curious about it. I thought that was wrong, so when I didn't give it up, he shut me out of his life. What a stubborn old man. So I did the only thing I could do. I gave everything I owed to you, including my hidden books your father never knew of. My head began to spin. There was too much information. It was all going so fast, despite time not moving a single inch. I'm just so happy that my curiosity stayed with you. So my grandfather met the incubi. That seemed so surreal. Could hardly believe it, yet here was the spirit of my grandfather telling me. It was almost like a dream. So you introduced them to the human world. That's right. I told them about the wonders of our world, and they all wanted to come and experience it. So I helped them come over and gave them everything they needed. They traveled everywhere, and I helped them as they learned more about humans. Then I suddenly stopped breathing. I don't know why, but I believed it was because my time was up. After I died, the boys tried to come back. However, Malik attacked them instantly when they crossed his path. I used the last bit of my strength to guide them to the estate, so they had a place to heal. Oh, so that's why they were in the house. But they said they didn't know about the house belonging to anyone. I never told them it belonged to anyone. I merely told them to head to the estate for shelter until they could learn to live on their own. If the estate was meant for them, why give it to me? I never knew your father would move you in so quickly. Even still, you managed to learn of them, and learn of the demon world. You even were curious enough to study the magic. Why not teach me when I visited? You were too young to understand. I was hoping that you would make the choice to learn on your own when you were ready to handle it. You did. I'm so proud of you. What are you saying? I barely began reading it. I don't remember anything. I will help you remember. Then my grandfather gently bent down and kissed my forehead. All at once my mind began to fill with spells and history of arcane magic, the demon world, and everything my grandfather had known. I looked up at my grandfather again, now able to remember everything and more, as he smiled down at me. Never forget, make your own choices and do what you need to do. Don't let someone determine your life for you. Not even me. If you decide to never look at magic again, I'll understand, but now at least you know it's there. Fuck. My grandfather then patted my head before turning and walking away. I tried to follow after, still unsure but lost as ever, but my feet remained stuck to the floor. Wait, please. He didn't turn back, and he didn't stop walking. Soon he vanished past the wall, leaving me alone once again. I gritted my teeth, trying not to cry. My mind was filled with both the power to defend myself and a large amount of confusion I could never hope to shake off. I could feel the air around me start to move again, so I tightened my hands into a fist, trying to push away my concerns. I had to remember, I was Malik's captive. I had to escape. After I escaped, I could figure out my life. Soon the world around me returned to normal, with Malik's mocking me. I closed my eyes and began to mutter a spell from my memory. Spiritus lumen da formitium tium. What the Latin? What are you? What are you? Descendo! All of a sudden, a wave of light burst from my body, washing over the room and pushing the devils away from me to the ground. As the light quickly faded, I shook my head, feeling a small weakness in my leg. I don't know why I'm getting so happy for some reason. Feeling a small weakness in my legs. Malik quickly hopped up and growled at me, obviously surprised, but irritated beyond belief. Where did you learn that? I will rip that tongue right out of your mouth. Spiritus tenberium pericium prohibium. Come here. Malik charged at me, dropping the gun that would never hurt me to the floor and reaching for my face. However, I quickly crouched down and covered my head with my arms, while a dark magic circle appeared under my feet. Above me, a dark shield appeared, blocking Malik from touching me. How? You're just a human. A human who knows how to fight back. You fucking go, girl! I pushed against the shield, forcing Malik back before standing. I wasn't some damsel in distress. I can fight for myself. I shook out the sudden appearance of numbness in my hands, and I glared at Malix, challenging him once again to come at me. Malix, no, stay out of it. I'll kill this bitch with my own 2 hands, one way or another. As commanded, Eris stood away from us along with the other devils. The group watching us was lost in intrigue as I stood up against their leader. Oh, you must think you're some tough shit since you know some demon magic. Well, guess what, princess? Demon magic consumes energy. I can play this all day, and when you finally lose all your energy, your ass is grass. I glared, knowing that what he said was true. I couldn't hold out forever, but I definitely had the energy to last a while until someone found me, or until I could overpower Malik somehow. Malix charged at me once again, causing me to run backwards to keep some sort of distance. I could feel energy wanting to shoot out of my hands, so I pointed my palms at Malix. A light purple spike suddenly began shooting from my hands, forcing Malix to skid back. Had terrible aim, only able to scratch the edges of his body, with 1 or 2 actually stabbing into his shoulder and leg. Malix growled, pulling them out and throwing them into the ground. Quit playing around, Malix. I lowered my hands, feeling the numbness run up through my veins to consume both my arms. I began to pant, desperate for some relief before continuing. Malik smirked at the sight, and he sneezed. Oh, for the love of God, please don't fight me, I prayed. I hoped that I wouldn't have to keep fighting. I was becoming desperate. What made everyone in that warehouse drop our fighting faces was the screeching of police sirens coming closer to our location. Malik smirked even wider. It's time to have fun, boys. Make sure you kill them all. The devils all seemed to get excited and started to walk past us to meet with the cops, but a loud finger snap stopped them. It made them turn around. Malik and I looked to see Eris with their hands in the air, post-snap. Eris, what are you doing? Enough, Malix. We've wasted enough time in this stupid town. I'm getting out of here, and I'm taking the rest with me. I didn't know whether to laugh or not. I bit my tongue as Malix got angry again. Like hell you are. Boys, do as I say, or else. And then the boys moved. Eris snapped her fingers again, causing the boys to rush back past her and out another way from the warehouse. Malix, it's over. You can't even beat a human girl. You're losing your powers. Lower devils only follow higher-ups that actually have power. Shut your mouth! Malix summoned his gun to his hand and shot multiple times at Eris, who somehow managed to teleport away from the shooting line and reappear by us. She shook her head, letting out a sigh before grabbing Malix by the neck and pulling him off of me. Malix started to choke as Eris stared coldly at him. All of this for a bunch of pretty boys? You must be stupid and desperate. Eris looked to me, making me tense up. Human, I suggest heading home to your pretty boys. You don't want to get involved in a supernatural investigation. It's a pain in the ass. She then turned back to Malix, glaring daggers into him as he glared back at her. You really think women are weak? Let me fix that, sweetie. And with that, Eris vanished into the shadows, taking Malix with her. And I was left alone. The police siren stopped. I looked over to the open passage to see the incubi with a large police siren megaphone staring at me in surprise. Where is he? I swear I'm gonna... He's gone. Eris took him and left. They won't be coming back. It was all so surreal. I was helped by a devil, but I quickly shook off the feeling. I was alive, and that was all that mattered. I fought to stay alive, and there I was. The boys tried to question me, but James cleared his throat, catching the attention of his brothers and me. Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here. And with that, we are done with that episode. That was really good. That was a good episode. I really enjoyed that. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you guys comment or subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.